black community. And now that they come in and close Sam down, we have a problem. We have a problem with not knowing where our power lies. So we need to do something about it. You can look around the room and see my opinion, and just like everybody else, because they're saying they know, they're going by statistics and all this other stuff. My opinion, they closed it down because of the black city that's coming in, and black people getting to the point where they're running something, doing something. And if we let them get away with it, we're going to set us back another 100 years saying that you couldn't do anything with what you did have. So I'm saying now, what we need to do, the answer that I have we need to do, you take a card to get into Sam. I have a card here. I'm going to cut my card up, send it back to Sam and tell him I don't want to shop with him no more. And that allow me to know, let them know that I'm not coming back. And then anybody else associated with them, I'm not going to shop with them. I know some things we have to do, but I know they closed this one down. Simply we came in, we pulled the city out over here, and then we started running the city and started attracting business and homes and things building in this area. So when they take this out of here, they think they take the power away. We spend more money in this world than any other race of people around, spending careless on cookies and everything else. So we need to take our money and invest our money in ourselves. That's right. And build for ourselves. So I challenge everybody to have one of these cards. The lady said, get your money back. I'm going to cut it up, send it in, and ask for my money back. This is what I'm going to do. And if I can get about 1 million more people to do this, then we'll know we're doing business with it. They call that business. So we'll know we're doing business. If we take our card and say, I really want to thank the commission for listening. And I know some is really on the team are trying to get this thing solved. But I'm not going through the statistics because they can beat us all the time with the statistics. Because they can change things and they can make it work. But I know one thing I can make work is having this card, tearing it up, and don't spend no money with it. That's right.
I'm here to show a little love. My name is Rod Pryor. I'm the president of the Hidden Hill Civic Association, and I've met with many other commissioners at different points in time since I lived in this community. I've been in this community for 28 years, and I remember when Wesley Chapel was thriving, and we had the Kmart's there. I was here when Walmart was on Wesley Chapel. I was here when we had small hardware stores and small businesses throughout this community. And it was attractive when we moved in this community, and guess what? It still is attractive. But the opportunity that we have before us is, my first question is, how strong is the county's relationship with our businesses? How strong is that? Chamber of Commerce is very important. There's been organizations that have been birthed out of our community have attempted to talk to the businesses in our community, and they just don't have a clue that they're all connected to each other. And I always thought that was the role of the county, to help the businesses to be connected and strong and to work toward a vision that the county has. So I think that's something that we really have to continue to address. What is the vision that we want for our community? Once again, I represent 1,600 homes in our community. We have a golf course that's 138 acres worth of nice developable land, but I cannot seem to get the conversation around the possibilities of building a park or some attraction that would draw people into this community and benefit DeKalb County. Wonderful opportunity, sitting there idle for the last 10 years. What is the vision? And until we have a vision about where we want to go, we're just putting this puzzle together by pieces. And yes, I understand being angry about the businesses from leaving, but we got to give them a reason to stay. That's my position on it. So what we did as a community is that we put together a petition on our website. We started back in November when we first got word that Public was closed. We have the website, wearehiddenhills.com, and on there we have a petition, and we got over 300 signatures right now asking Publix to stay in this community. We also asked our residents to go and shop at Publix for the next 4 weeks. Get to know the manager to let them know that we want them to stay in our community. And so we've been doing that for the last 6 weeks. And so we're trying to be involved in what's going on, right? But the key is, if they leave, what type of vision do we want? And if we have a strong business and county relationship with businesses, I think that they'll come and I think they'll invest in this community. But they need to know what the vision is. And that's what I'm really hoping that we'll get out of this meeting. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Marvin Cole. I'm a local DeKalb resident, an entrepreneur. I just wanted to make a couple of quick announcements. Number one, I have organized a meeting tomorrow evening at the Western Chapel Library, and this is regarding the Kroger store on Flat Shoals Parkway. I had an initial meeting on November 15th with the district manager and the other higher-ups, had about 50 people to show up at the Kroger in the conference center upstairs. And we let them know our top 3 or 4 issues, which included, we definitely need more store security at that Kroger on Flat Shoals Parkway. I visited the store on Moreland Avenue, and they have not only security guards, they have the cab police there 24/7. We can't even get the cab police. We just need them, let us get them from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. so people feel secure. So we'll be talking about store security, store cleanliness, customer service, fresh produce, etc. It'll be tomorrow evening, January 23rd, from 5 to 8 p.m. From 5 to 6, I'm having like a networking, meet and greet. The official meeting will start at 6 p.m. And the other thing I'd like to say is I have access to 2 banks. One bank will do a line of credit, no tax returns, no collateral. And I have another bank that will do a personal line of credit, no tax returns, no collateral. These banks reside primarily on the north side of town, but I have some information, if anybody's interested, and you can see me, later regarding the Kroger meeting. Thank
you. Thank you for your comments, sir. But I just wanted to make sure that we didn't leave a comment on vision without making a statement. Because I think it's critical that everyone understands that the county certainly has a vision. And the county has been working towards that vision for quite some time as it relates to economic development. About 3 years ago, the county undertook the first economic development strategic plan, which prior to that, there was not one in existence. And since CEO Thurman has come in, the county has really focused on those quality of life issues, roads, public safety, the overall aesthetics and what our facilities and what the county looks like. Because we recognize that in order to attract and retain businesses, all that is very important. And so whether it's basic things like ensuring that we get to potholes, the whole SPLOST initiative was recognizing that the quality of the roads mattered. The whole addressing blight deals with the quality of life in the communities, and so we are working towards that vision. I just wanted to make sure that we responded and that everyone understands that we are on the move and we're getting better.
Good evening. You try that again. Good evening. Good evening. I'm a retired business person in this community. I've been in this. Oh, can you hear me now? Yes. Okay, I'm a retired business person. I've been in this area 30 years. I'm originally from Detroit. And I like this, I don't have any questions, I just like to comment. The economy is in bad shape. The poor people, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's the bottom line. And, contrary to popular belief in Detroit, Detroit is not on the rise. Downtown Detroit, with certain folks, the rich folks own businesses, that's on the rise. Detroit is not on no comeback. okay? And they may not never be. And also, the demographics was perfect that you showed. It was perfect. However, those demographics should be created amongst ourselves with our own business, so perfect demographics. Boycott is great. I like that. Boycott is great. But we need a plan in place before we boycott. Because if we boycott the food places, the Walmart, where we gonna eat at? You know what I'm saying? Because we don't own nothing here. So we need to get a strategic plan in place. Now, I have researched this here. Workers' co-ops, where the workers own the business, go back with black folks from 1880 something, you know. And we need, because if the workers own the business, no worker would, first of all, we wouldn't close our business in our neighborhood. The people who close business in these neighborhoods, they don't live here. They may be in China, Hong Kong, New York, or whatever. They don't care nothing about, they don't have no allegiance to us. They forget about that, you know. Also, more stores are even closing, and they're going to be closed. J.C. Penney is going to close 183 stores before spring. So, I say this here in closing. You know, once we get a plan in place, I part-time drive for Uber. I pick up some Ethiopian people on the weekend. They go clear across town to do business with other Ethiopian people who have markets. They go clear across town and spend their money with them. Thank you.
That's support.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here. My name is Julian Smith. I'm a product of DeKalb, graduated Southwest DeKalb, and I got my degree in accounting from Bethune-Cookman, and I currently teach at Barrington Elementary School. And one proverb I would like to share with y'all is that when men argue, children suffer. And in light of that, one suggestion that I would give is to put a case study or business model to like the FBLA in the high schools to be a part of the process in deciding and formulating a business model on what they need and what they would like to see within the community. And I will also volunteer my time and service to help facilitate that. And my question is for those who have a model to present, where to email it or send it, or whom to contact. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. Please forgive my attire. I work today. But I'm glad to see all the elected officials here throughout the county. Now, I'm going to be very brief because I got to go to another meeting. Many of you all have lived in DeKalb County 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, and the same elected officials have told you you're going to see light rail, you're going to see heavy rail. You're going to see increasing police, the county's going to get better. And the county has only got works. We keep coming to these meetings, asking these elected officials to fix the problem. Guess what? We gotta stop asking to fix the problem and fix the problem ourselves. We don't address the issue of crime. Ain't no business coming to this side of town with crime as high as it is. Ain't no business coming to this side of town with young people hanging out and not in school. They're not coming. Ain't no business coming to this side of town when our school system, as the governor claims, is failing. So if we're going to address the issue, let's address the truth and then find the root of the problem and solve it. So do I blame the elected officials? No. They tell you what they want you to hear. That's what they do. Don't disrespect. But for the elected officials, tell you what you want to hear. So let me introduce myself to you again. My name is Mereda. I am independent of my own. I have talked to Publix Corporation. I have talked to Kroger's Corporation. And I'm going to tell you something. Now Walmart has left. And people fail to realize Walmart is the parent company of Same. But if you go to any Walmart in DeKalb County, guess what? You're going to see our people at Walmart. I went to a meeting out in Dunwoody a couple of months ago in a community center. There might have been 1,000 people there. The people in Dunwoody, in Peachtree Corner, in Doraville, when they come together, they're not talking about business leaving, they're talking about business coming.
Thank you.
South DeKalb has been around a lot longer than Doraville, Peachtree Corners, Dunwoody. How is that their economy is growing and South DeKalb still has a black eye? So this is what I'm going to leave because, as I said, I'm going to leave. On March 24th, there will be a new organization knocking at the doors of DeKalb County that will come in and bring a solution to what's going on in this county. Now, many of you all have said, well, there are many organizations in this county. You are correct. There is now one organization that addresses every issue in this county and you're going to get the results. So you can continue to come to these elected officials and beg them to do something. Or on March 24th, you can come to South DeKalb Community Alliance and get the results you've been waiting for years. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to be quick. Just to echo off what a couple of people said, is that you've been talking about, this isn't something that just happened. We know that this has happened before. Target is closed, closed is closed. So have we not learned from that? You keep saying that we've done stuff. What have you done so that we're not repeating the past? What kind of relationships do you have with these businesses? They have to come to you all to get zoning, to get permits, to get approval to move in, yet they have to seek nothing to come out. So what is it exactly that we are doing? So we talk about retaining businesses, let's talk about retaining residents. Because I, as a resident, don't want to have to travel 15 to 20 additional miles to go to a store. I moved in this area because of the things that were here that were important to me. So I want to know from you all exactly not what the future holds, but right now. Because my Publix is closing in March. So where is it that I'm supposed to go? Stonecrest, Sam's Club is already closed. So where is it we're supposed to go? Boycotting is great, but in the interim, where am I supposed to go and get all my services?
I'd just like to say that, and and I know that many people are frustrated. I'm frustrated. But we do have to look at trends. Stores are not only closing in our communities, they're closing across the country. And if you don't think that e-commerce is not having an impact on retail, then, okay, hold on. Grocery store is retail also. But I'm saying that if you don't think that e-commerce is having an effect on retail, then something's wrong, because it is. I mean, we're going to the future. As we close, I'm going to show you a video that I saw just last night, where you're going in stores, and Amazon is the lead on that, where you're going in stores and you don't even have cashiers anymore. Cars are about to be driven by themselves, if you want to buy one. Things are changing in this world. And if you don't want to hear, you're going to be left behind. Because whatever business that we do, we have to understand the trends that's going on around the world. And so I just want to make that point, because things are changing. It's from like when I was in college, when I was in high school, I was taught on the typewriter, not the word processor, but the typewriter. So if I did not follow up with the trends, I would still be on the typewriter with no job. You know, so I'm saying you have to open your eyes whether you want to or not. And if you want to shift blame to anybody, you can. But the reality of the situation that we have to deal with is the changing trends in the world now that's affecting our county. And then you also, when you talk about funding, and the money that local government has, we have a whole different administration in Washington, D.C. that already told us what they thought about where we came from. You know, so I'm saying you have to open your eyes. And although you may not like it, because I know, we have to deal with where we are right now so that we can move forward and progress. And that's what this county is trying to do. So with your next question.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Kenneth Saunders III. I am president of the South Cab Improvement Association, but I'm also vice president of external affairs of the Hidden Hills Civic Association. So my president came up and spoke and he really talked about the vision, which is what Hidden Hills is about, and I believe that's what DeKalb County is about now. One of the things that I do notice with the store closings, I think that Walmart and Publix, they may have a point as far as the sales being low, but I've been across Metro Atlanta where I've observed the other Publixes and other Sam's Clubs, and I see that they're not as busy as the one, particularly with the one that's closing on South Harrison and Covington Highway. Now, one of the things that I really want to, I guess, I'm glad that we're having this discussion and we need this. One of the things that I've noticed as far as with our community, particularly here with South DeKalb, is that we are so reactive to things. We are never going in front of the curve and creating our own. But now here's one of the things too that I've noticed, and the gentleman spoke about the areas in North DeKalb and Fulton and Gwinnett County, where you have community civic organizations, they will come up and ask for businesses to come to the area. But what I've noticed is that we don't do that. And so for me, I'm all about providing solutions, particularly for the community real quick. Like for instance, Trader Joe's, for instance. Trader Joe's is a good store, but they don't necessarily know that we're necessarily here. But did you know that if you go onto their website, they actually have a place where you can put your name and address and an address of where you want them to be. We can do that as a community to demand so that they can fill up the Walmart. Not necessarily the Sam's, because that's too large of a property, but the neighborhood market, that could be a good replacement. So one of the things I've also noticed too is that I'm looking at the demographics in this room. I don't see a whole lot of people that are close to my age, that are under 45 years old, the ones who are actually raising Generation Z, who are raising the millennials. We have to be a little bit more active in getting the youth involved in our community. Because right now, even though I'm broadcasting right now on Facebook, because a lot of people, I feel that they need to see what's happening, and that the elected officials and appointed officials are actually doing the work in the county. Because the perception that we have, particularly for South DeKalb, is wrong. Crime in our area is not as bad as it is up north. That's a fact. But we also have to be our own marketers. Whenever somebody's talking bad about South DeKalb, we bump them and say that, no, this is the positive. We have Arabia Mountain, we have Stone Mountain, we have a great mall, we have a good area, we have nice homes, we have good people here. So even with the lady who just was up here, we need to find out what can we do besides boycotting to really provide the services that we actually need. here in South DeKalb.
Thank
That's
you.
it. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Laura Ellis, and besides being my broadcast assistant, I have lived in Hidden Hills for 26 years. Okay, then. So I have lived in Hidden Hills for 26 years. You talk about the Gen Xers and the millennials. I have a daughter who is 35 years old. She and her husband have 3 children. They want nothing more than to continue to raise their family here in South DeKalb. My daughter was raised in South DeKalb. We love it. But there are some issues, and I completely agree with the gentleman who said we have to take accountability for our neighborhoods ourselves. I appreciate the elected officials coming out. I know this can't be easy. I know you probably feel like a dartboard at some point, but you know, you're the folks that we bring our things to. So I just have a couple of follow-up questions. So there were a lot of good questions here this evening. How do you plan to get back to us on these things? Where do we look for the answers and by when?
Okay. Now, I just got a new website, and it's Mereda Johnson. What is it?
It's a real good question.
Hold on. It's new. It's new. MeredaJohnson.com. MeredaJohnson.com. Yeah, it would be put on the website, and the website is very interactive. I got young folks that work for me, so they know, you know. So it's very interactive. So, you know, you can go on it, give your comments, see what's happening. If you have any questions.
Yeah, I actually used it when I found out Publix was closing, and I went out to your site, I contacted your office, I contacted your husband's office, and I've been aggressively contacting and working with Publix to find out what the reasons were behind this closing. So I do appreciate your internet presence. So now, when you were making the point a while ago about the trend or the changes in the economy with e-commerce and how this is affecting everyone, you're absolutely right. But when those organizations start looking at the impact, they're going for the lowest performers first. So you're right, there are other areas that are affected by it or other factors, but they're coming for South DeKalb first because they're not getting the performance. That's what they say.
You said that you have a 35-year-old.
35-year-old.
And, you know, my kids are 27 and 28. And they just don't eat like I used to eat. You know, they don't purchase like I used to purchase.
Did I mention mine has 3 kids?
Yeah, but I'm saying that, they have food, but they don't cook like in volumes like I used to cook. When I go to, you know, it's only me and my husband at home now. And we have a lot of seniors like myself that's in this room. And so if you have 5 kids growing up, you know, your grocery bill is much larger than if you have, it's just 2 of you. So we have to look at that too. And then the millennials, most of them, a lot of them, you know, they don't cook. They don't, a lot of them don't cook. They eat out. You got like whole food. So I'm saying we just have to look at all of that.
So I understand your point around the trends for the grocery stores, but the questions that came up this evening about what's the vision? There was a comment made about a vision for DeKalb County. How much of that vision is focused on South DeKalb, and what's the vision specifically for South DeKalb?
Well, I think what is good for South DeKalb is good for North DeKalb. And what is good for North DeKalb? When, you know, what we have to do is focus business, and I represent the 5th business, so the 5th district. So when I'm talking to folks, you know, I'm trying to get them to come to the 5th district. But I think as a whole, I'm going to let DeKalb folks talk about that.
Thank you, Commissioner. And to respond to your first question in terms of how long and the form of the feedback or response. I see this as a great opportunity for us to help get the message out, to share a lot of data and information and plans and visions and all that type of thing. So what I committed to Commissioner Mereda Davis-Johnson is by this time next week to ensure that we have provided a series of points of information that will go from anything, some of the information that Mr. Baker presented. We'll talk about the economic development strategic plan. We'll talk about entrepreneurial training opportunities. We'll talk about grants and loans and all these different things, because I think this will be most significant if we take information, we take the energy, and we actually keep moving in a direction that creates more self-reliance and more organic or homegrown opportunities. So I'm going to get all that information to Commissioner Mereda Davis-Johnson and to each of the commissioners by this time next week.
Also a question around the bond requirement. I think that's a great strategy. So I'd be interested in hearing that. And also to follow up on what incentives were initially offered to Sam's and Walmart, and as a result of them leaving, are there any penalties? I think we all want to hear about that, because the boycott is great, but they're gone now. And so we will continue I canceled my membership today, I heard about it, but going forward, people need to also know not only is there an incentive, but there's a price to be paid if you don't hold your commitment to this community. That's the thing that you
Absolutely. And the point of how do we assure, to the extent possible, that those boxes don't sit vacant. So and those strategies, a lot of that we're going to be developing, because if we simply had the answers we would have given them. But we do recognize the problems.
I want you to know that you have a committed DeKalb County residents, and I think we've got a bunch of them here. So if you have a group or an action group that you want to see going forward, we're all set. We're all ready.
Well, thank you. And I just want to say this, now I'm not sitting here advocating a boycott. I'm not organizing a boycott. The only thing that I'm saying is that I don't do business with people that disrespect me. And if you want to drive 10 miles across town to another mall, that's your prerogative.
That's right.
But I'm not advocating the boycott. I'm just saying, for me in my house, I'm not shopping at Walmart. I guess
Good evening. I'm Rita Fishley, and not only do I want to hold politicians accountable, I support them when they're doing the right thing. I'll have meetings in my home. I will give them money. I will help them to raise funds, and we have started a political PAC. So with our political PAC, we will be supporting good candidates. If you haven't done anything, don't come for no money from me, because you're not going to get it. My other thing, she was talking about an off-ramp. If you have a company that comes in, you promise them all these incentives, and they promise you so many employees that they are going to employ. Do we hold them accountable? Do we know how many employees they are employing? And if they don't, what's our remedy? Do we have an off-ramp? We need an off-ramp and a strategy. We always, after they do something, then we want to get together and say what we go do, or we go to boycott. I never supposed to say I'm a Walmart, because they always use my money to keep me down and black folks down. So why should I give anybody my money and they go and support issues that keeps me down, like the Coach brothers? No brownies, paper towels, no Asian salt coming in my house. You better believe it. So, and the other thing I want you all to know, that there are businesses out here that really wants to come here. So let's look for people that want our money, are not afraid of us, want to be in our community. That's very important. I want people here that wants to be. So that's what we have to strategize going forward, getting the proper kind of people and the proper relationship with these people from the beginning. So when they start to mess up, it's just like the child. They don't do what you want all the time. I don't do what I want all the time. But when somebody called me to my attention what I've done, I correct my action. And we all have to do the same thing.
We have to be out by 8 so we can sort of stay within that 1 minute time frame, and then the lady in the black shirt, that will be the last comment question. So, because we have to be out by 8. Oh, we have to take up an offering. Yeah. We can clean up.
Well, good evening. My name is Carrie King, and my question will be short, and it is directed to my commissioner, Mrs. Johnson. I lived in the South Harrison, Kings Ridge Division area, and I was going home the other day, and there was a sign on South Harrison. I thought the house was for sale. I went back and looked at it, and it said, "Get ready for Green Haven City." Is there another proposal for another drop-off city in our area, or spin-off city, I should say? What is Green City, Georgia? Green Haven.
Yeah, there's some people advocating for another city, but
In that
that's
small
unincorporated DeKalb County. You know, I always say that if these cities would take the barren land, you know, and develop it, I'm fine with it. But whenever a city comes out, they want to take what we build, and then they want to say we ain't doing that. Not talking about anybody in particular. But I'm saying that you don't see a city to come up and get barren land and build from there. They wait until the DeKalb County builds, and they say, we ain't doing that, but taking what we need, you know. So, you know, it's true. But I'm all for unincorporated DeKalb. That's who I represent, and you know.
So will we be able to stop it, or will there be anything we can do?
Well, you know,
to
so
address
give
it?
up my time, and we'll talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm going to try to be brief as possible and get this maybe back to the subject of the store closing. This is kind of a venting right now. My husband and I, we have the Sam's Plus card and we get our prescriptions there. And as a cancer survivor, I depend on that medication, and we take a Plus card to get a discount as much as possible. But the other day, he and I went to the store. The pharmacy area is still there, to see how we could get our prescriptions transferred. We were met with the security guard at the door. He walked to my husband's side of the car. He walked to my side of the car. He escorted us all the way in. He stood there until we talked to the pharmacist. He escorted us back out. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know if anybody's ever been burglarized or not. I was years ago. And when that happens, you feel so violated. We had such a feeling of, we all wanted to cut our skins off because it made us feel so nasty that we were treated that way when it wasn't called for. And when you go to get your prescriptions, there is a sign that says stay back here so that you don't have to hear what the other person's saying. We were not given that. And I know it's not a big deal, but having traded at that store, we spent $600 2 or 3 days before that at that store. But to be treated like that, it felt like dirt. So I don't appreciate that at all, but we had nobody to get that to, so I'm sorry if you're getting that tonight. And I do have a question.
But I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because that's how they treated us when they closed the store abruptly on us. So
And I do have a quick question. How does that impact the other stores? Say when Burlington Coat Factory moved across the way, I would imagine when they do their studies to locate, they probably would, depending on drawing some of the members from Sam's to come over there to shop there. So how does that impact the other existing businesses who probably depend on that traffic?
So, I don't know how it's going to affect it, but obviously, it seems that it's going to have a significant impact. What I was sharing with, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? So what we need to do, what the county needs to do is sit with not only, and I wish that our economic development arm could have been here tonight, but between economic development and our friends with the city, and really talk through what are our next steps standing shoulder to shoulder to mitigate any further impact. As I sit here today, I can't tell you what the business model was for the other surrounding institutions and businesses, but clearly this is going to be an impact. And so what we need to do is mitigate further impact and try to for lack of a better word, stop the bleeding. And so that's where we need to be able to sit down with our friends from the city, with our friends from economic development, and others who are interested in moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
So a little bit of a 60-minute housekeeping. If I seem to be upset, it's because I get back up here and I really hard.
Well, let them speak, because we have to get out, and so if you could let them speak, and if we have time.
Well, you said that this was the last lady, and I was in line.
Yeah, well, I didn't see you.
Okay, well, don't be defensive, because this isn't specifically about you, okay? So, my point is, I have 60 seconds starting now. So, I'm going to reference this by stating my background. I was part of authoring a German study on shrinking cities, including Detroit, Warsaw, and a number of other cities. I'm a licensed architect. I understand development. I understand regentrification, okay? I'm also 39 years old. You spoke about, and it was spoken about, Generation Xers and the use of technology and things like that. I'm 30, I wish it was 29, correct some things, but I'm 39 years old. I have children. I teach design studio at KSU, so I'm exposed to a lot of youth and young adults, okay? I understand technology. They are specifically and strategically de-investing in our communities.
Right.
Let's just be honest about it, okay? We can't just look the other way and say it's about technology, because you can take a rock and throw any direction at one of these regentrified neighborhoods in DeKalb County and hit a new Kroger, and hit a new Sam's Club, and hit all of these things. So it's not about technology, right? And I want to be very clear and respectful, Ms. Johnson, that my wife drives to 3 or 4 stores.
Okay.
Physical stores to
Okay.
shop.
Okay.
And that isn't the answer to it.
Okay, thank you.
That isn't the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your comment.
I'd like to know if you've already calculated the economic impact, that is the tax dollars, that the closure of Sam's Club in DeKalb County will be to the taxpayers here. And I'd also like to know if the Planning and Economic Development Department puts out any type of publication to let us know, citizens know how or what you're doing to promote South DeKalb County as a logistic paradise.
Just real quickly, we definitely are working with the County Business Association. On the mic, please. which we believe is a prime logistics area. And so we've been coordinating with them. They're currently working on the CID to get established so that they can actually do more and do more employment and so forth. We're pushing the film industry and opportunities for that because we know that that's a growth industry and so forth. But from a planning department standpoint, again, I don't represent economic development, but from a planning standpoint, we've already put in place the zoning district and the vision for the comprehensive plan is posted on the website. If you go to the planning department on the website for DeKalb County, we have all the visions of what mixed-use development is, what we like to have, where we want it. We have the circles where we want the higher densities and so forth. So we have a vision of how we want South DeKalb to grow. What's interesting is the same plan, the same zoning districts that we adopted for the entire county that Dunwoody then created itself and all the other cities. Those same zoning districts and visions in the comprehensive plan are still there. We've held meetings with members of the development community to ask them specifically why have they not developed, in this particular case, it was around 285 and Memorial Drive, trying to understand what it was that we needed to do to attract them. We're going to have to do a similar thing on South DeKalb to understand why is it you're not investing in South DeKalb, which has the same zoning, the same vision that we have on North DeKalb. But that's where we're all going to have to come together to get those answers.
And we will also provide within that week timeline, just the copies of our existing economic development strategic plan, probably a summary document too, so that people can understand what we mean when we're talking about the targeted industries. The young lady made a point earlier of the types of businesses that we have plenty of, and there may be other types that we want more of. We'll be able to talk about the target industries. We'll talk about the corridor strategy and the overall business climate. I think that's part of the conversation as well. As we look to attract and retain businesses, we need to be clear of what we're all talking about. And so we'll make sure that that's all part of the packet of information that's provided to the commission. It's already on the website, but I like the idea of having a condensed place where this conversation can move forward.
I didn't know you were here, but I'd like to also acknowledge before you speak that this is the president of the DeKalb NAACP, Teresa Hardy.
Oh, thank you. Actually, good evening, everyone. I've already spoken about the fact that we know that we have closings, and I just had a response from Zach as it relates to our strategy for economic development. But I think we're going to have another meeting just to go over that, because the concerns that we have from the other is, one, we know that the stores are closed, but are there others coming? Are we prepared for what's to come? And because we're in a new generation, we needed to know how we went back to our economic development plan and updated for the new e-commerce, because as you can tell, I think Sam's even mentioned, they're going to think about distributed type of retail. So like Amazon coming in and all that. So you're not going to be going to a grocery store often anyway, so that's like the new way. But I just want to make sure that I am included when we have these discussions, because a lot of the questions come back to the NAACP, and we, along with my economic development team and labor and industry, want to make sure we understand the strategy to help put it out into the community as well. I didn't realize I knew we had one, but there hasn't been an emphasis on it in South DeKalb, so I do have concerns there that we really need to sit down and think about it as it relates to not just Sam's and Walmart. I think we need to talk about other ways of getting grocery stores or the type of businesses that we want to see. Thank you. Thank you guys for coming tonight.
Last question, and this is also about economic development. I live near the Indian Creek and Kensington MARTA station. What's going on at those MARTA stations? I mean, Avondale is blown up. what are we doing there to draw millennials? I see them skipping across the street in the morning to get on the train, but what are we doing to put services in those areas? Like, it took years to get a sidewalk in front of the MARTA station. People walking in the street with cars. Like, what is that plan? And when are we going to see it?
Just real quickly, please go to the website as well. There's an I-20 and there's a mixed-use update that's going on. We have a contract, we were awarded a grant actually with MARTA, and we're looking at each one of the transit stations. So they're currently looking at extending from Indian Creek, stopping at Covington Highway and 285, and going down I-20. So there's a study going on, there's a survey online to talk about what we need to do at those MARTA stations. We also tried to, and we did adopt a Kensington Memorial Drive overlay, which takes into account the Kensington area. And to the previous speaker, we're drafting an update on the scope of work for the Strategic Economic Development Plan. So what we can do in terms of adaptive reuse of those boxes is one of the things that I just put on the scope of services. So when we hire and update the study for the Strategic Economic Plan, we'll start discussing and get ideas about what to do with the big boxes and how we can hold their feet to the fire without leaving us with an empty box.
What website are you talking about? And if you go to my website, there's a link to every department in DeKalb County, but we're going to put it on my website so that you all can see it on the website. But I just want to say thank you all for coming tonight. We appreciate your concerns. I know that many of the comments opened my eyes to things that I had not thought about or realized before. And just want to say thank you. I want to give my colleagues an opportunity to say what they want to say.
All right, thank you. So I haven't taken notes, so I won't review all of them, but I'll just touch base on a couple of quick points. Wherever the young man was talking about getting our young people involved and helping us think through this, I'm all for that. We need to have them at the table because I'm 55 years old going on 60 and we need young people to help us think through this so we don't miss something fundamental. Rod talked about relationship between the county and the business community. To be frank, I'm not sure it's been that great historically. You know that the presiding officer of the DeKalb County Board of Commissioners, not the individual, but the position, has an automatic board seat on the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. I'm not sure any presiding officer has ever gone to a chamber board meeting. I've asked the new presiding officer to let me go to the chamber board meetings to represent the Board of Commissioners so we build the relationship between the county and the business community. George's point about the bond, I'm going to look into that. I'm not well versed in that, but I think that idea has some merit. Faye's point about the Nairobi, I'm going to look into that because I'm not very well versed in that. With regard to the store closings, you know, and leaving big boxes vacant, there's some basic questions you have to answer when that happens. Number one, who owns the property? That's got to be determined. What do they want to do with it? Is there an opportunity for them to repurpose it? If not, would they be interested in potentially selling it to the county so we own it? Those are fundamental questions, but the responsibility starts with the owner. With regard to some proliferation, I think this young lady very early on talked about we don't want more dollar stores and other things like that. We passed SLUP 6 months ago to stop that proliferation. There were 6 items, I don't remember them all, but tire stores were one, tire shops was one of them, liquor stores was one of them. We passed that already. So we're making steps on that process. And then the last thing I'll say is about distribution centers. I'm a fan of distribution centers. In my corporate days, I sold to a lot of what's called 3PLs, third-party logistics firms. I think DeKalb, specifically South DeKalb, should be the destination spot for distribution centers. We got the largest airport in the world down the street. We got the port in Savannah deepening, so more logistics are going to be coming through Georgia. Why not target South DeKalb as the place for that? But I will say this, as somebody who spent many, many years in corporate sales, if I sat around waiting for the phone to ring in those days, I would have starved. Somebody's got to be reaching out to these people saying, actively selling DeKalb and specifically South DeKalb County. You can't wait around for somebody to show interest. Because all it takes is one to get the ball rolling. And I like distribution centers because A, they tend to employ a lot of people, and B, they're not manufacturing anything, so they're not emitting or polluting. So I think we should really, really, really focus on that. And I want to thank my colleague again tonight for putting this together and for inviting me. And thanks for sharing the podium here with my other colleague, Greg Adams, and thanks for y'all's time and attention.
Thank you, Mr. Bradshaw. I do want to thank Mr. Mereda Johnson for establishing this town hall meeting. Even though it's something we dealt with last week, is an issue that really needs to be addressed. And I applaud her for that. And the statement and thought about boycotting, that was me. And I made that clear last week. In order to send a message to those people, those vendors, about what they do to us, we need to send a message back, you would not get my money. So it's funny because they sent me a renewal for my new Sam's Club card, and I said I'm not renewing. Next thing you know, they shut it down. It's not my fault though. Make that very clear. The bottom line is business is business. We're working for you in DeKalb County. In Steve's and my behalf, we just completed 1 year. We hadn't been here 3 years, 4 years, 5 years dealing with problems and issues. But we want to be a resolution to some of the problems that exist. And we do reach out to the business community. A couple of businesses on Memorial Drive and one on Covenant Highway, I have met with individuals that want to buy those buildings because we don't want just the empty box there. And they're ready to come in and then go into a process of trying to purchase them, but then they have outdated water bills. Now we got to tackle that. I'm sending them to Zach. But the bottom line is, we're working to improve the life and livelihood of our citizens here in DeKalb County. And on February the 3rd, God permit, we'll have another meeting here about 9 a.m. Got something that's going on early that morning, but I'll be here at 9 a.m. to meet and have some of our staff and employees of the county come and address some of these other issues. Thank y'all so much for being here. Your words did not go on deaf ears. We hear you, we do what we can, where we can, and when we can. And thanks Andrew Baker and Zach Williams for being here, and our staff accordingly. Now those flyers should be in the back, and Korean, one of my staff, should be able to facilitate that.
Andrew Baker, they do not have to be here. These are the top guns of the county. They did not send their phone. They came themselves. And so that means they have an interest in us and practice care. So I appreciate it. I'd like to say thank you to my chief of staff, Demetrius McCoy. Could you stand and let everybody know who you are? And also to my director of constituent services, Demetrius Pinkett. So I got two Demetrius in my office. So thank you all again. It's my pleasure to serve you. And I try to inform the community. And so I hope that you all have been informed tonight. And if you ever need us, we're here to serve you. So just contact us. Thank you. Oh, and thank you.